Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for my client Michelle's vlog. And as some people have noticed, yes, she does a lot of volume. We'll get into that in a minute. But we started off max effort bench press week with light bands on a bench press. Of course, she does close grip. That was 140 plus bands. She does close grip, but we've started talking about the fact that now her shoulders are really healthy of working on some wider grip benching, taking her pinkies out to the rings, doing some rep work there, and getting stronger at those angles. Because up until this point, she's pretty much had to do that, but now she's noticing, since we've gone over to doing that it's pain-free, right? She can do a wider grip bench. It doesn't hurt. We're going to slowly build it up, build her pecs up and everything to accommodate it and keep her moving forward. And just knowing what movements she can and can't do allows us to work around these things. But again, she wanted to try, and I'm glad she was willing to, because I was kind of thinking the same thing. And that's kind of what we decided to do, that she needs to work on the different grips. Now, she still can't sumo deadlift. We tried to mess with some sumo and realized it causes a problem with her knee, and it's problematic. So I'm going to keep her with conventional deadlifting for now, even though she's gotten respectably strong on sumo pretty quick. Again, she's just got some issues with the movement. So we did some wider grip benching after the max work. Then she did JM presses, and she was really happy with it. She's like, I'm up to using the full bar. So some of you guys out there who haven't been able to do these with the full bar, all right, you need to step up your game. But she does them pretty strict. Notice she keeps her elbows up really high. She's using a full 45-pound bar at this point. So again, triceps are strong. Her triceps are strong. It's not an issue. So after that, we do chin-ups at the moment. For a while, we were doing the neutral grip pull-ups, but she has to do only the narrower grip. And I'm hoping over time that we'll get her shoulder health to the point to where we can do different grips. But I'm letting her for a few weeks do chins because she's good at them and they work. We just don't want to do them for extended periods of time. And it mainly has to do with the bicep tendons. And for some reason, I bring that up and people keep thinking I'm talking about joints, or they're thinking, oh, well, could we just do curls in place of them? It's like, no, it's the supine position itself is hard on your tendons. And it's not my opinion. This is, surgeons have said this. Matt Winning has said this. And he's one of the guys out there really lasting in the game, lasting really, really well. So, I don't have people do a lot of supine work, and I might work some of it in myself, let some of my people work that in. But by and large, I'm just very, very careful with it. It doesn't mean I don't let anyone do it. Obviously, I have clients and vlogs who are doing chins. But we have to be careful with it. We have to be careful with it. All right, after that, she does one-arm dumbbell rows. Does some one-arm dumbbell rows. And then we work on shoulders. So she does a couple different angles. I don't think I got all of them in here because it's a lot of footage, right? Her vlogs tend to run on long because we do so much volume. But I have her do side laterals and then reverse flies. So we're working all the angles of her delts. We need to bring them up. And she does band press downs afterwards. So the question becomes, what's up with all the volume? Women can handle more volume than men. They can. That's what all the studies show. A lot of it has to do with relative strength. There are some studies that concluded it's purely about relative strength. I don't think that's entirely the case, because we do have the issue of women can usually handle better percentages, like get more reps at the same percent of their one rep max than men. On average, a little bit more. Whereas in men have a little more neuromuscular efficiency. So I think there's a few different things going on there, but that is generally what studies have shown. Women can handle a little more training volume than men can and recover from it. It just is what it is. So deadlift, she did a conventional deadlift with chains. She stopped at 275. She felt like that's all she could really get and moved on for the day. Afterwards, on max effort lower day, she does safety bar good mornings. Again, one of my favorite movements, good mornings in general, especially with specialty bars. I don't want to say the SSB is one of my favorites. I really hate doing it personally, but I do it a lot. I have a lot of my clients do it. It's probably not the most comfortable exercise in the world, but it works. And it works very well. And I think a lot of the reason I say that with the SSB is because of the moment arms involved. It forces us to use a lighter weight than we can use on other bars. It's very difficult. I've never got past the load of 400s for a 1 rep max on a safety bar. Good morning. But with other bars, you guys have seen me hit well up into the 5s. So it gives you some context. So from a stimulus to fatigue situation, it's quite good. Having her do goblet squats for a couple of reasons. One, to make sure we're reinforcing depth and mobility. She's using a 75-pound dumbbell right now for these. But depth and mobility as well as working her quads and adductors. And that's the thing, we get such a nice wide stance on these when they're done correctly. I mean, we can pretty much go ass to grass even in a power squat stance on these. So they really are great for reinforcing mobility. But notice on her last rep, notice the knee valgus that appeared. Again, the glutes kind of giving out, right? Bit of hip extension weakness. We need more glutes on her. But we saw that muscle giving out as she reached fatigue. Just a minor note, because you didn't see it on her other reps. All right, then we do glute ham raises and reverse hyperextensions. Again, a combination that is hard to beat. I tell that to people all the time, unless they're having pain with it. If you don't know what else to put at the end of a lower body day, you really can't go wrong with these two movements. You're probably going to get stronger. Whether they really are the perfect movement or not, you're still probably going to get stronger as a result, because it shores up most people's weak links in their lower body, and they're just very effective movements. Although I have a love-hate relationship also with the GHR personally. It makes me cramp afterwards. I get hamstring cramps after GHRs all the time later in the day. It's not fun. Makes me hate the exercise. Makes me question its effectiveness, because it's just the potential for quality of life reduction. At least, the days you do it. Not everyone gets that. I do. But we all know it is a phenomenal exercise for building hamstrings, because it works all the functions of the hamstring in a single exercise. All right, speed bench. It's got her running chains right now. Still doing just close grip on these because we haven't really gotten her to where she can do all the different grips. But in the near future, we'll probably start rotating grips like my other conjugate lifters do, or the majority of them do on this. And of course, she has her JM presses. Again, working those triceps. At some point, I'll work some dumbbell presses back in for her in this, right in this slot, and then do JMs. But putting a little more delt and tricep focus as she's getting used to handling those wider grips, then we'll come in and attack them with more exercises to bring the pecs up further. But in the meantime, really, really working her delts a lot, delts and triceps. As we're seeing with the JM presses and band work together, I'm a big fan of that combination. For a lot of reasons, because it works two different functions of the tricep in terms of where the most tension is placed at a lengthened versus a shortened position. And then the JM presses are hard on elbow tendons, while the band press downs are restorative to them and a prehab. All right, so then she does seated dumbbell presses, again working the delts. Then we usually do front raises. Actually, she should be doing chins first, but I think the exercise order got a little messed up with my files, because she's got chins coming up, and then we do front raises. So normally we would do any of our other auxiliary pressing, then we do chins, then rows, then front raises. But the footage got a little mixed up here. So we got chins, and notice she can crank out a lot of chins. Most women would kill to be able to do one who go to the gym and train. It's like a big milestone to be able to do a chin up. She just cranks them out. Cranks them out. Look at that. Fantastic. Notice how her range of motion, she can get her chin so far over the bar. I can't do that. My back doesn't let me do it just due to my lats getting in the way of pinching that high at the top. But it's great range of motion. Same with her front raises. In spite of the shoulder surgeries and the scar tissue she has, she gets a great range of motion on these at the top. So just making a note of those things, making a note. And something to keep in mind, your range of motion is what your range of motion is. People are like, wow, she does a great range of motion. Everyone should. Well, not everyone can do that. That's kind of the point. That's why it makes it kind of a, something that I'm noting. All right. Then we do band press downs. After that, we go on to dynamic effort lower day, last day of the week. And we start off with box squats with chains. When I get the footage coming up, we'll see if I gave her safety bar or straight bar. What do I have her do in this block? Yep, straight bar. Thought so. Especially if someone gets closer to a meet sometimes. I like to do that. I need to rotate some safety bar back in because her meet got pushed back. One got canceled. She'd have to enroll in a different one later. So our meet prep got a little bit pushed back, but that's okay. It gives us more time to get her total up to get qualified for nationals. But yeah, speed squats with boxes. She's getting better at sitting back. Then we have conventional deadlifts against chains. And I need to find out if she's got a good setup to do more bands as far as a deadlift platform. She's done some lighter bands. I need to double check that because eventually I'm going to want her to do these against really heavy bands. I need to make sure we have the appropriate setup. All right, then on to the goblet squats again, which we're going to push these really hard at the moment. Again, for the reasons I listed of reinforcing her reaching depth, teaching some extra things on squat mechanics, but it's also a great way to bring up your adductors and your quads with minimal fatigue. Because we just can't use that much weight on these. The nature of it and the way it's brought out in front of us, it severely limits the weight we can use. Like the fact that she's using a 75-pound dumbbell as a woman is indicative that she's at a pretty dang high strength level. I mean, even if you guys don't know what the dumbbell weighs, you can see it's a bigger one. Right? It's not a 35. So again, she started off strong on these right from day one as soon as I prescribed them to her. All right, then over to the classics, the glute ham raise and the reverse hyperextension. I know I sound like a broken record in these vlogs sometimes because a lot of my clients who have access to these, we do them pretty much every week year round if they have access. And for good reason. These are two of the best exercises to build up your posterior chain while really minimizing overall fatigue and axial loading. They're almost impossible to beat, and that's where we get into the restorative effect of the reverse hyper. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.